Hello everyone and welcome back to the penultimate round of the BMW International Cup. Today it brings us to the southern part of Portugal, I believe, the Algarve. Very popular holiday region. Also has a pretty cool track named Portimao. Today we go to Portugal for the penultimate round. We are off to Jerez next week for the finale, and well, Portimao on this game, it's a bit up and down in both ways, obviously with all the elevation, but just the way GP Bikes doesn't really handle elevation well, so even if you love this track, it is quite tricky on this game because you get a lot of weird crashes. So that's what we'll all be battling in today's race, just trying to basically prevent all the weird crashes and just the weird GP Bikes moments. So coming into the weekend and the race, really it was just going to be a matter of who could probably keep it rubber side down for the most part. As you can see with some of these cool onboard shots here, it's all up, all down. You rarely have any moment on track where you're on a nice flat piece of tarmac. It's always some change of elevation, which really kind of plays with the issues of this game. But we're going to jump here now in a second to my lap in qualifying. And in qualifying, you can kind of hold your breath through the fast corners and risk it and really try, but you will not be able to do that for 17 laps in a full race distance. So it's going to be a much more, how would you say, I suppose, kind of reserved race. We have to think about the race. We're currently sitting in P6, a second off. Considering my usual qualifying speed, it's not too bad. Again, I think the weird nature of the track has probably maybe brought me a bit closer. It's probably not as much conventional, but you can see here, decent first sector. Our Frisky in P1 with a 38.4. I ain't getting anywhere near that, but I'm kind of just hoping really, maybe if I just find maybe 3/10 and just get ahead of Endrick, if I get onto the second row, higher up the second row should I say, or at least prevent myself from dropping back, because usually what happens in these qualifying sessions is, as the track gets better, I just don't find the time when other people can. So that is one of my bigger weaknesses with the current mod of this game, really, or kind of suppose this mod more than the actual game itself. But when the track kind of rubbers in, that last extra 1%, I just don't have it. I just don't have that feeling. I can't just extract it from a track, which is a bit of a shame. But you can see here, halfway around, 300, that would put me just behind Billy Jones, so it would be a pretty decent position to be starting. But usually you can see some else that are proven because the times have just shifted slightly. I believe actually it's Endrick who jumps up into P2, so now we are trying to go ahead of Billy Jones, so it's going to be a pretty difficult task. But we're coming into the final corner, 0.44 under, just losing a small in the last corner here, but we get much better exit than our actual quickest lap, and it's nearly 6/10 as we come to the brow of the hill, just out onto the curb. Have to be careful, up to the line, and by the smallest of margin we pit Billy, and that is up into P4, and we do hold on to it. Frisky takes pole, Endrick second. Fox Boxer, who probably has one of the better race paces, is in P3, and I'm just there on P4, so I'm going to be on the left hand side of the grid looking down into turn 1, so we're going to be on the outside, so better positioning for, say, either P6 or P3 on the far inside part of the track where it won't be as rubbered. So hopefully we can get a good start. Now this is one of the most critical parts of the video you're going to see, so I'm going to break down exactly what's happened here. We're on the warm-up lap. Now you'll see Frisky takes off, Master does something, everyone else goes. You can see I'm not even revving the bike, I'm not doing anything, I leave everyone completely going. Now I get a perfectly good clean start for my starting position down into turn 1. So what I can do from here is I can basically test the waters of how late I can brake. So again, you can see I've let everyone go. You'll see here in a second I put into gear, enable my launch control, and then get on the clutch. You'll see in a second, just a good practice start, so I get a decent launch again, kind of just ride away on it. And what I just practiced, and this is going to be crucial for my race start, is right, I'm going to try and break the 100 meter boards just before it, and I carry decent speed to the apex. So I was like, right, I know for the race I can brake just roughly around 100 meters, so I know pretty much my limit into turn 1. A lot of people don't do that, and they get to turn 1 and they just have no idea. A lot of people just take off, start pulling wheelies and do all these little silly things. You see small margins that will help you in a race when you're up against so many competitive riders. Now you can see we're on the left side of the field again, just trying to get myself in. You see I'm going to have a couple of goals of getting into this grid slot here in a second, but we are right behind the pole position man. So again, if we get a good start, we'll be on the right side of the track going into turn 1, so we might be able to maybe make a little bit of an overtaking attempt. So I'm doing my best here. As you can see, I'm wiggling his way into the grid slot, just trying to position myself as perfectly as possible. So we aim just past Frisky, so if we get a better start, which is hopefully what we do, we'll be able to go past them. Unfortunately there's no 2D lights, so we're relying on the real one, which means we have to do an extra first lap. Can we get a good start? Yes we can. Now we'll just go to the outside of Frisky, and it were pretty much level neck and neck. It's going to be who's braver. It's me, because again, just practice it. That was Billy Jones killing the Indonesian of Frisky into turn 1. So again, back to my start of my warm-up lap, that small 10 seconds where I sat there, launched it and just practiced where it could break into turn 1 has basically got me the whole shot, and it's got me a clear track. So again, if I maybe didn't practice as much and broke at the 115 minute board, chances are I would have been taken out with Billy Jones, and same with the Indonesian Frisky. So it was just small little margins that got me from basically being P12, P15 after being taken out into turn 1 to being leading by a small bit. Now again, straight away I was instantly into like a conservative mode of thinking, well, I not even thinking about winning this race now, because we've 17 full rotations of the circuit to go. At any point you could crash in Craig Jones' corner, crash in turn 1, you could crash turn 5, you could crash into this next right-hander here, the next left-hander, the penultimate corner, the last corner. All these corners are hotspots where you can go through them and feel like you've done nothing wrong and crash. So there's easily 6 corners a lap there, and I've just said we've 17 laps, so I'll leave you to do the maths of how many kind of dodgy corners I'm going to have to get through between now and the checker flag. So at this point in the race I'm thinking, right, I need to leave the tyres come in, so I'm going to basically just be a bit steady for lap 1 and 2, and then we'll kind of take stock then after that. So currently it's VS Master who got a much better start than his warm-up lap, and Fox the Boxer in P3, Biker up into P4, Cross going to top 5 as well. Endrick didn't look like he got an amazing start, went backwards a bit. Obviously we lost Billy Jones and Frisky into turn 1, so the two of them are probably outside the top 15 at the moment. So again, into turn 1, being a bit cautious because these heavy braking zones the bike likes to book route. It looks like for the most of this race I missed the apex turn 1. If you get too close to the curb in turn 1, there's just some weird fuckery that goes on and you just basically fall off. So for a lot of this race it looks like I'm blowing turn 1. I'm actually braking early and kind of coasting in, a bit of lifting and coasting into turn 1, and it seems to work for me quite well. Now you can see VS behind is probably getting a bit little, probably you could say frustrated. You can see here in a second, I believe his name kind of appears on my screen. Maybe another corner in a second, but he definitely feels like he probably has more pace. But I'm very much not even going full throttle here, just kind of limiting myself on the tyre. Again, there is a bit of tyre wear at this track, again with all the elevation change and the edge of the tyre a lot of time, like out of here pretty much are spinning there. I think it was for VS Master just kind of getting close to me. So the Italian probably thinks he has more speed than me at this point, probably risking a bit more. And again, at the moment I'm trying to just go absolutely as little risk as possible, and that's probably what's just holding the pace up a small bit for the riders behind. There's a green flag there, I'm not too sure exactly who that is, but there is riders down behind me. So we have a nice little comfortable lead at the moment. We just have a couple of tenths over him. There's no immediate threat. That is a green flag for VS Master. So into the second right after Craig Jones' corner, Fox the Boxer sends a move up the inside of VS and into the very tight left-hander, where the green flag went out. VS just taps the back of Foxer. Unfortunately for him, he falls, and that is him pretty much out of contention for the win. I'd imagine at this point it's going to be hard to really get back. So you can see we've done 2 laps. It's a 3 minute 22, because when you don't have the 2D start lines, you're starting ahead of the start line, which means you have to do basically the whole first lap is kind of like the game doesn't really know how to calculate it. So we're a second head at the moment of Fox and Boxer. Now, like I mentioned on the kind of qualifying thing, I know Fox's race pace is going to be good, better than mine I'd imagine. And for me at the moment now, again, I'm completely not thinking of who's where, what's anything. I'm just thinking, right, try and keep on the bike, try and keep a steady speed, and basically don't get bitten by one of these corners. As we come out of here, green flag. Unfortunately, the Belgian Fox Boxer has tipped off at the very, very tricky turn 5. We did mention that earlier in the video, of a corner that could really catch out. Probably didn't do much wrong really. As you kind of pick up the throttle in the middle of that, the front likes to just fold randomly, so very, very tricky. Now we've jumped forward to kind of just start the lap 5. We've about 4.5 seconds back to pretty much everyone over the field. After Foxer fell, I think it was Bunta in P2, and I just had a bit more speed. Even being consistent and trying to be patient, I had more speed than Bunta, so I managed to build a gap up to about 4 seconds. But because Foxer crashed right here, not really a fast crash, you don't lose that much time, so he managed to remount, get in behind Bunta, and then overtake him within kind of 2.5, 3 laps. So now back on my case, even though he's 4 seconds back, the Belgian number 9 is going to be coming after me hot. At this point now, I know for a fact, straight away I'm thinking, right, he knows he has more speed than me, he definitely will be pushing. So at this point I'm just going to try and take him out into deep waters. I'm just going to keep my pace as consistent as possible and just basically prolong him catching me as possible, to make him have to ride over the limit for longer to catch me. And basically, hopefully Portimao will catch him out is my thinking. That I know he's more speed, but he's going to have to risk. He's the one that has to catch me. I only need to stay on the bike at this point in the race. So again, only about a third of the race in at the moment, and we're kind of thinking, right, he's going to take a lot of time out of me. And I know he is quicker, but he's not a second a lap quicker, so that's not going to be something he'll catch by lap 10, lap 11. So I know for a fact he'll take a good few laps, and he'll probably catch me with a couple to go, and then we'll see from there on. So at this point in the race, I was thinking, right, we just need to hit our marks, stay consistent, and do what we can do. So 39.1, 39.7 there a second ago, and you'll see in a second we'll kind of jump through the laps and we'll start going through 39.6. So again, my Numa race pace was mid 39s, 39.7 there. I think next one's a 39.5. Yeah, so you can see the gap is coming down, 2.8, 2.6. It's coming down a couple of tenths a lap. Again, we're on to lap 11 here, and it's still 2 seconds. Just jumps under the 2 seconds at the start of lap 11. So we were kind of just slightly fading into the high 39 to this point, but still the pace was decent, and I wasn't kind of taking too much risk. So at this point, I kind of felt, right, Foxer's done a good 6-7 laps there where he's taking time out of me. He definitely thinks he has the potential to win this, and he's probably gotten over the danger point of the race where after a crash you kind of go over the limit and you can easily crash again without feeling like you've done anything wrong. After a crash, your tires can just take a couple of laps, but he's probably gotten through that danger zone. So for me, it was a big part of the race was just to maybe stretch him out, but unfortunately at the moment it is lap 15 or 14 we come on to, and well, he has pretty much caught me. It is very, very close to being 1-1 on track at the moment. So it's only 0.8 behind me. You can see still 39s for me, so I'm still doing pretty much what my race pace was kind of expected to be for this race. He's pretty much now, only thing he can do is try and pass me. Now, the main opportunities in Portimao for overtaking will be this turn 5 up here. Very tricky. You have to have pretty much a very much a decent pace advantage into this corner, because it's downhill, it goes away with the camber, it's very tricky. You already saw he crashed there already, so I'm kind of thinking in my head he's not going to try it there because he's already had a small crash there. It's going to be difficult. The turn 1 is another one where at the top of the hills where you're braking or down, the bike likes to get a little bit out of control. You've already seen that he's pulled off a move as he's come out of here into the next double rights. He's managed to pass VS, so this will be something I'll have to be wary of on the last few laps, that I don't leave a big open here kind of opening for him to get through. But again, he is 0.8, 0.5, 0.6 behind. For the last kind of 4 laps of the race, I was taking a tent, giving a tent, and I was just kind of keeping him in a position where he's not going to be able to put a pass on me. So at the moment I was pretty happy. And again, green flag there, I was just thinking, is it him? I didn't even look, because I think I remember even looking at my minimap to see was there who was down, and it wasn't him, so I wasn't really focused on who else was really in the battle. I don't even know who else is even in P3 at the moment when I was in the race, so my main focus is just basically not giving him a sniff. I know his pace is better, but even at this track it's not an easy place to overtake. If I kind of do what I'm doing all race, I'll pretty much be very, very difficult to overtake. So again, we're starting to just maybe pull up a bit more, trying to maybe go a bit more stop and start just to make it a bit more difficult. Again, if you have a massive pace advantage, you might be able to kind of have a look in here, but it's really, really risky, as we seen with Marquez last year in the main race. So again, kind of recap it, you've turn 3, turn 1, turn 5. The rest of the track is very flowing, and without a mistake from the rider in front, it's going to be quite difficult. And on this kind of halfway through this penultimate lap, it's 3/4 of a second back to Foxer. So at the moment he's not really in any striking distance. You can see there's we upshift though, a lot of spin. So we're definitely getting down to the last few fibres of these Pirelli tyres, and I'd imagine after the way he's ridden and pushed through and his showing his speed, his tyres aren't coming in a great state either. But just making sure really that I was hitting my markers and kind of corners like this, wasn't taking the piss, just because it's so easy really to just try and over-exert yourself at a track like this, and the game will bite. It's very, very tricky to stay consistent and stay clean really for this race, because a lot of these, you can just see the way the bike kind of moves around a bit unnaturally on these elevation changes. And this last lap here, we're just starting to not ride tight, but we're just starting to try and ride a bit more safe, because when we're coming out to this last lap, small mistake there, you can see I just had to do a little correction, and you can kind of see the basically put my line all out, put me out onto the curb, and it's gone from about 0.7 down to 0.2. so Foxer is smelling blood, so he definitely will have to try somewhere on the last lap is what I'm thinking. So I'm thinking Coming on to this last lap, I'm thinking actually, you'd imagine brake late ever. I'm actually going to try and basically back him up. So we did a 40.3 that lap. Again, braking pretty conservatively into turn 1 on this last lap. Just want to hit the corner. I want to basically not have any corner speed, which is completely the opposite of what I usually would do. See again here, brake a touch early. Probably caught him slightly off guard. You see, he kind of just picks the bike up and goes past me. And again, in here, I'm thinking, right, he's already had a crash into turn 5. He's not really going to want to risk it. So again, we're not doing anything stealing on the brake, just being very smooth and just kind of predictable on the brakes. And again, he doesn't show wheels, so thankfully we've managed to get to turn 5. So in my head now, there's probably 2 overtaking spots left in this track, and he's going to have to need a massive advantage. So again, that was probably 1 in there if you get to drive out of 5. So for me now, it's just going to be if he can try and invent something in his last half a lap, but really a lot of this is one line. It's just this next right here is the main one I'm thinking of. And again, unless there's a mistake for me, there's not really a way. You can see earlier in the race I did say that if you basically defend this, there's no way past. He's not going to ride around the outside of me, so I rolled the inside white line as best I could. And again, I'm just opening up the corners, and again, he has a look, but he's not there. There's no opportunity really to go. And again, once I get a stop for this difficult left-hander here, does not really weigh. And again, he tries to have a look up into the next right, but there's just not really anywhere. And again, he kind of shows me his nose, but I have the line and I just kind of defend him hard. Now we come out of the penultimate corner. Again, there's not really anywhere he can do anything unless I make a mistake. Again, we're trying to ride the curb and the white line to be as defensive as possible. As soon as I pick up the throttle there, the rear end slides a big slide for me out the last corner, but it doesn't stop us. We do get our first victory of the season. Kill Fox over the line completely. Just trying to roll off and kind of shake hands really, but unfortunately we killed him. But yeah, what an amazing race that was. Again, massive shout out to Foxer. Foxer was really much quicker than me, but again, it just shows that speed on this game is not everything. A bit of racecraft, a bit of race management is definitely important as well in the game. So massive props to him. Again, it kind of takes 2 to tango, and it made that race a lot more interesting for him coming back through with the speed he showed. So it was really an interesting one to kind of just watch it back and kind of commentate over. But at the moment, at the time of recording this, we do not actually have the full results. So unfortunately, I don't have race results or championship results. They have been delayed. So we're going into the final round with no idea where we are in the championship. Some people believe I'm actually in the lead of the championship. Again, Garang was missing, the Indonesian, so he's leading the championship. That's a big 0 for him, so that's 25 points. Again, you just see there on the outro, that's what won me that race. That simple overtake there into turn 1 where I know exactly where to brake into turn 1 because I did the practice start. And that was enough for me to just risk everything into turn 1 to make the race, because again, qualifying is not my strong suit. And even when we do get a good start, it's not always as easy to do what we did there. So we'll leave there. Portimao is the final race of the season. That is this weekend. So potential of a championship is still actually on, believe it or not, even though I wouldn't say I've had an amazing season at all, but it's been a fun one. I'm going to leave it there. Hope you have enjoyed. I will post the championship standings once I have them. I'll put them up on the community feed, and yeah, that'll be all for today. Hope you have enjoyed. If you did, drop a like, subscribe to see more, and shall catch y'all in a future video. Thanks for watching. Slán go fóill.